There are things that we experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in a corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your evidence, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is Minnesota GhostBox Radio.
And this is Minnesota GhostBox, live streaming on Para-X Radio and available on the After Hours feed on the iHeartRadio network. Welcome, my name is Greg Bakken, coming to you from It's Almost Here, St. Michael, Minnesota. Well, what on earth does that mean? This is a time of year I always look forward to when I have a lot of friends that come in from around the country and we hang out for a weekend and basically just have fun. And literally, that's all it is. We're just relaxing. And I'll be honest, I need it. And there might be 1 or 2 glasses of booze in my very near future. And I don't know why I'm sharing this. Maybe I'm so excited that it's coming up that I just really, really want to share that with the world. A special shout out to a friend that just arrived from Ashland, Ohio. Lloyd, if you're listening tonight, we'll see you Friday. It's great to have you in Minnesota. Tonight's show is one that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. Lately, we've been strictly paranormal, which is great, but it's been a while since we've talked about Bigfoot. Tonight, our guest is Abe Del Rio. Abe, also known as Elusive1 Elusive Mnbrt in the Bigfoot community, is the founder and director of the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team and host MN.B.R.T. Abe has been doing Bigfoot field research and investigations for 17 years. Abe has yet to see a Bigfoot with his own 2 eyes, but has had multiple encounters. Abe is known throughout the Bigfoot community, helped authors with books, and has been in multiple newspapers throughout Minnesota and the nation. Abe has been on a number of radio shows and even wrapped up an episode of Finding Bigfoot in early July last year in Minnesota. Abe, welcome to Minnesota GhostBox.
Thank you guys so much for having me on, Greg. Sarge, it's a pleasure to be on you guys' show. You guys have an outstanding show on audience, so it's pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite all of our listeners to join into the conversation. You could do so by visiting our chat room. It is located at www.para-x.com. And on the main page, it very clearly says, listen now with live chat and join in. That's going to be on the top bar of the very new Para-X website that has just been launched this week, so everything is a lot easier to do now than it's ever been before. I really suggest people take a look at it. It's awesome, and we're very grateful to Eric and Rebecca for taking the time and putting it together. Thank you both very much. Let's get down to it, Abe. I'm so excited, and I'm certainly no expert on the Bigfoot stuff by any means. That's why I wanted to talk with you. And I have so many questions. First of all, when I read your bio, you talked about that you've not seen a Bigfoot, but you've had many encounters. What does that mean exactly?
Encounters. Well, as far as expertise goes, there's really no experts in the field of Bigfoot or cryptozoology. If there was, I'm sure we'd be able to have more proof and prove the existence of the creature itself right now. As far as questions or multiple encounters go, there's a few different classifications of encounters. There's Class A and Class B. Class A encounter is having your own sighting with your own 2 eyes, or knowing somebody that has had a sighting, or as we would say, a Class A sighting with their own 2 eyes. Somebody who physically got to lay their own 2 eyes on a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Class B encounter is probably more higher encounters. Basically, what that consists of is hearing, seeing, or not seeing, but smelling, having different things happen during this encounter that are pretty much have been going on throughout time by Bigfoot, and then later on has been seen. So if we're talking about, hearing bipedal footprints in the woods, or have seen a tree shaking in a distance, having a rock thrown at you, hearing communications or vocalizations of a creature, that all those are basically Class B encounters, and those are exactly what have happened to me. I've heard the bipedal footprints walking towards us. I've had the rock thrown at us here in one of our locations in Minnesota. We've heard them a few different times here in Minnesota. So those are the encounters that I have had. Again, we call them Class B because of the characteristics that, or some of the things that have happened and that are a lot of people later on say these things happen and they see the creature themselves. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, that's where, having multiple encounters have happened. A lot of times people ask me, well, have you seen one? Have you found them? I'll say, well, yeah. I mean, you have to have a couple of things happen in order to have a Bigfoot, encounter. You have to have yourself, you have to have a location, you have to have a creature. And that's happened to us or me, I should say, on more than one occasion. Yeah. So yes, definitely a few encounters, and especially throughout 17 years. If somebody doesn't have that type of stuff to add fuel to the fire for going on 17 years, you're like, okay, what am I doing out here in the woods, making these funny sounds and doing this, that, and the other thing? Am I really a lunatic, or am I doing this for a cause? Am I doing this for a purpose? But definitely doing this for a purpose.
I'm intrigued by the idea that you're going to get rocks thrown at you. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong here, I'm assuming that is more of a warning, like you're in our area, leave, opposed to them actually trying to hurt you. Am I on the right track there?
Yeah, and there's a couple of different things that they'll do if they don't want you in the area. Rock throwing is probably one of the more common ones. The other one is strange vocalization, shaking the tree to show you, hey, I'm stronger. This is what I can do. I can shake this tree, and I bet you can't. There's multiple intimidation tactics that they can use, just such as great apes use. And that's the only thing that we have in comparison as far as these creatures and their, I guess you could say, mannerisms or characteristics is attributed to what we know of the great apes and how the great apes act to show strength, to show stronger dominance or intimidation. Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
So when you're hearing this stuff, like if you're hearing the two footsteps nearby, are you able to kind of ascertain how close they are to you? Like you could be like, oh, they're maybe 20 meters away or something like that?
Great question. On a few different occasions here, at least in Minnesota, we've heard that. And it's very hard to ascertain because, the size of the creature will make them sound a lot more closer than what they really are.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Or else they could actually be just that close on the size or on what we're hearing as far as the footfall and the sticks and the leaves, the branches being broken, stepped on. This might be within 20 feet or 20 yards from you. It's really hard to ascertain, especially when you're out there in the thickness of the woods. Mm-hmm. So that it's really hard to say for sure. All the best we got to do is guess. And depending on the substrate after an encounter happens, go out and look around and see if you can find something. Depending on the substrate, if it's if the substrate being the ground, if it's harder, if it's soft. Hopefully it's soft when this happens. But then again, when the substrate is usually soft, you won't hear the hardness and the footfalls of the creature itself, because they'll just sink right in and kind of be like ninjas sinking into the ground, sneaking up on you. But usually it happens more of a harder substrate. Also, what comes into play is the branch. The branch is being broken from the size of this creature going through it too. Again, if it's great conditions, ideal conditions, especially in daylight, if this happens, go around, take a look and see, investigate the area, see if there is footprints on there, see if you do find some hairs that have gotten snagged on twigs and branches that they can collect for possible sampleizations and stuff. So as far as the distance goes, it's hard to say, man. It really is. You just never know until you have that encounter and you go and investigate and you find something. And then you mark the distance to where you find these impressions in the ground, or a path where this creature has breaking the twigs and stuff like that. So you can see and kind of say, this is how close it was to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I'm assuming, too, that, I mean, it's a whole other area, too, that I never really given much thought to be very honest, is the idea of the investigation itself in terms of, you know, if you're going at night or during the day to look and you like you said, you're looking at the branches, you're doing what police will do on their own investigation to get an idea of like how tall they are or what direction, or you could probably get somewhat of an idea of certain things based on what you're finding. I mean, there's a lot of that's so far beyond just walking out in the middle of the night in a forest.
And you're 100% right on that. You know, and it's a great thing that you brought up on police investigations. That is exactly how we got to treat, you know, areas or these areas where we have had these encounters. It's like a crime scene investigation. We don't want things to get, I guess, contaminated on the evidence that could be found. So possible preservation of the area where the encounter took place is kind of vital. You know, as far as preserving possible evidence, hair follicles, hair samples, preserving footprints, and correct documentation is all key. Like a private detective or a detective of some sort. Yes, definitely. Like a crime scene investigation area is how an area should be treated as.
Gosh.
In preserving everything. Yes, definitely. And you're right. It's not just about going out into the woods and making sounds and hoping to have. For us people, researchers who have been doing this for years, some of us carry, you know, latent fingerprint kits, hair collecting sample kits, and all of this stuff in hopes of preserving samples or possible samples that we do find to get sent in for testing. So yes.
That sounds like fun. I do have a question from the chat room from Ceiling Cat. She asks, does Bigfoot ever throw sticks like a spear or tabor? So I guess the question does become more of, are we getting weapons thrown at us out there beyond a rock?
You know, great question, Ceiling Cat, and thank you for asking that. So, you know, as far as Bigfoot's using, you know, different things for weapons besides his rock, again, the only thing that we can really say back is to our caveman and great apes and how they used tools and utilized tools too. Yes, definitely, Sasquatch, Bigfoot do use tools. Their accuracy with rocks or pebbles is uncanny to not. It's almost dead point on with a sharpshooter. They could probably dispatch a bird that's roosting, no problem, with a rock and hitting his head, and bada bing, it has a meal right there. As far as weaponry goes, if they wanted to hit us in the head with rocks, big pebbles, and boulders and stuff, they definitely have the opportunity to. They are the masters of their environment. They use and utilize these tools every day on a daily basis, and they're great. Like I said, they're like sharpshooters. If they wanted to hurt us, they definitely could hurt us with sticks and rocks. As far as pointy tip on a stick like a spear, it's hard to say. Do they use that for fishing, spear fishing, so to speak?
Sure.
Do they just catch a fish with their hand? That hasn't been documented, so it's really hard to say. But as far as rock throwing goes, that has, people say, you know, if they wanted to hit me, they could have killed me right there. More of the stick throwing is more of an intimidation tactic instead of a hurt to really want to hurt somebody. I mean, think about it. We're talking about a creature that's 6+ feet tall, up into over 100, 1,000 pounds in some instances, and can run probably about 40 miles per hour, and it has no problem. And they have strength stronger than gorillas, which gorillas are said to be about 5 times stronger than us men. If they wanted to really hurt us human beings, they have the speed and the strength to tear us from limb to limb without any tools. So, as far as weaponry use is going, I would say they have the possibility is there, but do they really need it? I highly doubt that. Yeah.
So
great question.
I have another question in the chat room, but I do have a question that spawned from what you're saying. I wanted to ask: have there ever been any evidence of throughout the years of doing any sort of research into Bigfoot and Sasquatch of evolution to these species at all? Like that you've seen that now they are creating maybe tools or whatever that hadn't been seen before. I mean, you think that over time that everything evolves in some way, and wondering if there's ever been any sort of indication of that at all.
That's an awesome question, and that's exactly what some of the answers that we all have that do this field research. Is there any type of evolving going on as far as, tools? Turtle shells. Do they use a turtle shell to eat out of or collect water with? They use their masters of their environment. They are going to use what they have to use in order to survive, and whatever that is, whatever that pertains to. It would have to be something that would have been taught through through learning, basically. So, be an evolving process itself, or something that was always kind of picked up and passed down. That's just a great question. It's really hard to say. I really can't answer that, but they have that learning capability. They will use what they have to use in order to survive, and of course, that is a trait that has to be learned just like any other animal. You have to watch in order to survive. Be optimistic. Eat when you can, drink when you can, or in their case, is it when they can or when they want? I guess that would be a great question right there. Seeing if they could probably dispatch and catch a deer whenever they want. I think they eat when they want, and pretty much not when they can. That's
helpful. So Kat had a question in the chat room, and she is wondering if you have ever run across like a campsite for the Sasquatches, or a gathering spot, or anything that's maybe shows some sort of inhabitation of them through your research.
Great question again. You got a great chat room going on.
Yeah, we do.
So
awesome. We always do. I always say it's the best chat room in radio. Yeah.
They rock. As far as having, it's very possible, and it's hard to say yes and it's hard to say no because they are such a nomadic creature and they leave such little trace. With that being said, I can't say 100% sure. Yeah, this is a place where they have nested or stayed a day or what, because they're always moving. They don't leave a whole lot of sign behind. If that is the case or the scenario where they have decided to call a place home for a couple of days and stuff like that, you think there'd be a lot more to find as far as, droppings, Sasquatch droppings in an area, but we have not came across an area where we think that they have decided to call home, because they're so nomadic. They're always moving. They don't stay in one place for too long, where you will have a whole lot of sign as far as, this is where they've stayed for a while, so to speak. Like, there's a pile of droppings over here. We got footprints all around us. No, we have not came across that. It's very hard. It's not that we're keeping our eye open. It's just very rare that you'll have, or you walk yourself into a place like that. And, some people may have, and that's when we started hearing people saying, oh, yeah, we were getting crawled at, we were hearing these very intimidating noise. We were having rocks and sticks and thrown at us, and so we just had to get out of the area,
Mm-hmm.
And what happened with us when we had a rock thrown, we were across the river. It wasn't like we just walked in this area and we had a rock thrown at us. No, we were across the river. Thought we heard something on the other side, so we were the ones that initiated the rock throwing. We had one come sailing back,
wow.
Which was awesome. Yeah, it was really awesome. So no, I would have to say no. We have not came across an area where they decided to call home for a few days, just because there was not a whole lot of stuff to find. There's usually not a whole lot of stuff to find as far as droppings and stuff like that, which would be a great indication that this is where they called home.
When you say that they throw a rock back, is it like a lob, or are they wailing something at you?
Well, how this all went down, we were on an expedition in one of our areas, and It was at dusk. It was getting darker and darker, but I swear, across this river, I thought I could see something. It was like shadowy outline type of a silhouette. Wasn't 100% sure. Letting the rest of the team know, hey, guys, this is what I think I'm seeing, what I'm hearing over there. There is something over there. So we decided to throw a few rocks across this river. And then, lo and behold, a few moments later, we had one come sailing back and landed by a tree that we were using to wood knock at. And we were like, whoa. We had a team member and his wife up there say, hey, did you just throw a rock up here? We're like, no. So they were a few, yards away from us. Well, we were still kind of at the river. They were up on the hill. Mm-hmm. And they had a rock land by the tree that we were using for communications. So that was really cool. Why by that tree the rock landed? Why did it come, sailing at us when we were down close to the river? Just more questions than answers, as always.
Oh, that's amazing. Tonight, the chat room is making my job extremely easy because we keep getting more questions in. Please keep them coming. You guys are great. Kat did have a follow-up question, which I think is kind of interesting. She's saying that these creatures have to sleep somewhere, but Kat wonders, deer would make maybe a similar size tramping down. Might the Sasquatches or Bigfoots use spots that deer have created?
Very possibly. We know from the gorillas that they do make what they call a daybed in primatology. Mm-hmm. Basically, where they take some vegetation and put it down. I've heard of other places in the PNW, the Pacific Northwest, and other researchers who, even down as far as Arizona, who have found such things made out of pine boughs and stuff like that. Some type of insulation or something that would not give direct contact with the ground itself. Mm-hmm. We have not here in Minnesota, unfortunately. There's a lot of wood to be out there and discovered, and trust me, if we came across what we thought was a daybed, we would definitely be going to do that for hair samples, like somebody looking for lice on the head with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do they make that? We believe that they do, or I should say, some clans do. Yeah, great question. I hope I answered that for you.
Well, and she had also wondered, is it possible that they sleep in trees?
I have not found or even heard of anything of that in my 17 years of doing this from any other researchers. But no, usually they are ground dwellers when it comes to sleeping. Mm-hmm. That's what I would have to say, yeah. Yep, definitely.
Okay. Then I have Cater, who asked, if you came across a Bigfoot face-to-face, what would the smart thing to do in that situation? And if you say pee your pants, I'm going to be horribly disappointed, by the way.
No, I would not try to, pee my pants, but I would definitely try to defecate. Who wants to mess with somebody that's smells like poop, right?
Well, funny enough, isn't that what they kind of say? Or no, actually, it's what the animal will do to you, actually. So, yeah. The ultimate keepsake.
Oh, man, totally. To answer that, be submissive. That didn't sound good. Okay, so show it respect, basically.
Right. I mean, maybe submissive is fine. I don't know. I mean, that's to each their own, right? I mean, this is why we're on after. This is why we're on after 10. Yeah. Okay.
So showing the creature respect. I respect it a big way, and we know what to do and what not to do, and what will provoke, again, like a primate or a chimpanzee. So what I'm saying is that you have a face-to-face encounter, show respect, glance at it in the eye, but don't keep on staring at it, making direct eye contact. A lot of animals will take that as being challenging. Don't bare your teeth. Showing teeth is a sign of aggression.
Yeah.
So do not bare your teeth. when we're looking at great apes, and again, I always go back to great apes and refer back to great apes because they are a great teacher on how they communicate, how they interact and behave with each other. We'll see chimpanzees when they come to the alpha male looking down and holding their hand up in acceptance until the alpha male or female touches the top of the chimpanzee's hand. It's the same thing kind of goes with gorillas. When the silverback is in the area, people show that guy respect.
Yeah.
That's what I would have to say. Is kind of acting those mannerisms where that creature is knowing that it is getting the utmost respect from you, and hopefully you'll walk away and just have to say, hey, I had a face-to-face Class A encounter, and this is how it went down. And, tell them what you did, how you respected the creature, and, so definitely I say respect.
So before we go to break, I have one more question from the chat room I want to get to, and that's from Ceiling Cat, and she had wondered if the curiosity from Bigfoot about humans is starting to wane, or if it's in fact intensifying.
Ooh, intensifying, definitely. Again, to have a Bigfoot encounter, you got to have three things. You got to have a witness, you got to have a location, you got to have a creature. Now, we find that the curiosity, the mischievousness are more, I guess you could say, kind of on the adolescents to younger ones. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, there are some big ones out there that will still be mischievous and throw rocks or make certain sounds, do something to get your attention to see how you'll react. But as their population increases and as we increase in encroachment on their habitat, there's only going to be more and more sightings. So no doubt it's definitely something that's going to be increased. And the pressure that we put on them through our encroachment, who knows how the encounters are going to take place. Are they going to be, hey, yeah, I seen one, it went that way, or is their aggressiveness in encounters going to pick up where they just are getting fed up with us encroaching on their habitat and start displaying more aggressiveness when there is a sighting, when that sighting occurs. So again, I say respect in a big way. Usually a Bigfoot encounter is like, hey, yeah, I've seen one. We made eye contact and walked the other way. That's about 90% of the sightings, besides having a road sighting encounter, one across the road in the car, which is totally a safe zone, your safe bubble. But when you're outside of the car and you're in the woods, you say, yeah, I've seen one. We looked at each other. It just got up and walked away. That would be an ideal encounter for me, because then I get to say, hey, my boots are on the ground. I'm there. I'm going to go take a look at this area where it was at.
Yeah.
Investigate.
No, very cool. I think what we're going to do, let's take a break. And then after the break, we're going to continue talking with you about, there's still a lot more Bigfoot questions that we have to get to. But also I want to talk about specifically the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. I want to talk about what you guys are doing and all that good stuff. So we're going to do that. You are listening to Minnesota Ghost Box on the After Hours feed on iHeartRadio and the Pair X Radio Network. And welcome back to Minnesota Ghost Box, doing some live streaming on Pair X Radio and available on the After Hours feed on iHeartRadio. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Tonight our guest is Abe Del Rio. Abe is known as Elusive1 in the Bigfoot community and is the founder and director of the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. Abe, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I'm having a blast. Your chat room rocks.
Isn't it? It's great. It's fantastic. And once again, if you want to join us in our conversation, go to www.pairx or -x.com. The chat room, the site is rebuilt. It looks fabulous. So once again, thank you to Eric and Rebecca for doing so. Before we get back to Abe, as always, I would like to remind everybody that Minnesota Ghost Box has a paranormal web series, and we are 4 episodes in, and we're very proud of our output, and would really like to invite people to go and take a look at it. Our most recent investigation is of the soap factory in historic St. Anthony, Maine, and it's 2 episodes of a lot of Spirit Box responses and a lot of history of that area. So please check it out. We're working on our next episode, which is the P&A Hall in Northeast Minneapolis, and you can find our paranormal web series output at youtube.com/MN.B.R.T official. And while there, please consider subscribing to our channel. You can also find us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/MN.B.R.T, and you can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at MN.B.R.T. Also, you can go to www.mn-ghostbox.org to contact us, listen to past radio shows, see our web series, or listen to some of our Spirit Box evidence. We have a great page about smudging that we put up there recently. Please check that out. There's a lot of good stuff there. It is also worth your time to check out Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and type in Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. You're going to find it. There's a lot of information on there. Abe, I couldn't find it. Do you guys have a website?
No, we're just using Facebook right now, man. Free advertising. You can put videos up there, whatever, links, and... No, that's what we're doing right now, is just doing the Facebook thing.
You got a lot of followers too on there. There's a lot of good stuff on there. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Thank you.
And a new episode of Minnesota Ghost Box returns on May 24th. I've been thinking about the subjects I'm interested in that we could talk about. And, something that I wanted to talk about and get a guest on for a while. What do you all think about an episode about the Shroud of Turin? That's something that I kind of want to talk about. I kind of like those religious mysteries and whatnot. I'm thinking that something along the lines of that might be one of the next things I'm going to do. So let me know your thoughts, or let me know if you have any ideas of people or whatever I should talk to, because that's what this show is all about. Everything that I talked about tonight are going to be links on my Facebook page, so please check it out. Now I'd like to welcome back Abe. Thank you for sitting through that. I have to do that every episode. I have to kind of go through my diatribe of the 300 things I want to get across to everybody. So,
I get it. I know that too. I also do a internet radio show as well. We started doing it back in 2009, called MN.B.R.T Radio. Had on great guests and plugging this, that, and the other thing. So I know where you're coming from.
So when does that air?
That usually airs on Mondays. Usually every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m., 2-hour show where we talk Bigfoot and talk Squatch, and different guests. And you can find us on blogtalkradio.com /MN.B.R.T, where we have a lot of our shows archived and stashed. Usually it's every Monday, but I've just been so busy getting things rolling here, not just with Bigfoot and Sasquatch, but other things I like to dabble around with in life too, that I just kind of had to step back for a little bit and have some balance.
No, I get it. I totally get that. Well, that's good. That's good about the radio show, and I'm going to make sure that I include that with the links that you post, because that's fantastic. It's like, okay, that's something that I want to listen to now. So that's going to be awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Not a problem.
So let's talk. We have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions, but I want to step back for a second. This was actually question number 2 I was going to ask you at 10:06 p.m., and now we're at 10:39 because that's how awesome the show has been so far. I'd like you to talk about the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. I'd like to talk a little bit about your team members, what you all are doing, what's exciting at the moment, because, that's kind of what it's all about. You guys are doing incredible work, and we just want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, thanks for the opportunity. So, we have a great bunch of guys and girls. We only have one woman on the team, and her and her husband are team members. However, we got them out in West Virginia. We are not looking for any more team members. We're looking to expand our team right now. We've got a great bunch of people, and we want to hold on and basically move things in a progressive manner with the guys that we have here in Minnesota. Seeing that we have a few new members, I want to teach them what I know. and teach them how I investigate, in hopes of fine-tuning their investigative and field research skills as well.
Yeah.
I'm not blowing my own horn or anything like that. Of course, what I do know, it's helpful, but it's just not enough because, I'd be out in the woods on a trail walking hand in hand with a Bigfoot right now. In no way I'm saying I'm an expert in any way, shape, or form. But, having that open eye and having that knowledge that I can always fall back on, and where I got a lot of it from is from primatology, too.
Sure.
I think that was it's a huge building block as far as, knowing about Homo erectus, Meganthropus, some of early man, I guess you could say, caveman stuff, too. I think there's a lot of correlation and cooperation that goes on with this field of research by looking at cavemen and great apes. So, we got a great team here. We got about 8 people here in the state of Minnesota that actually go out with us and go out and do field investigations and research and outings and stuff. So we have, and as far as going out, we try to get out as often as we can because, we all are busy guys, family guys. We have a lot going on in our lives. Just so it's, to get a date set, it was kind of hectic in itself just to go out and be like, hey, let's go as a group and go see what we can find. But a lot of us sometimes will just go out on our own or meet up with another team member or two and go hit the woods for a day or even a weekend and just to, hang out and have that fellowship. And if we find something great, if we have communications, great. We're prepared. We're documenting. We're ready for, the trap to hit the ceiling, so to speak, night or day. But what we would really like to do is a couple times a year is go out for about a week, if permittable, and just go out hiking for miles and just, being hardcore and our passions just burn the fire, burn wild, and just going out night, going out day, hiking and looking for signs and formations and hopefully having some type of communication and stuff like that. We got something coming up here next month, as a matter of fact, where we're going to be doing just that. And it's going to be where a town that calls themselves, around the town, that calls themselves the home of Bigfoot. We don't want to give, that's all I give away because what we like to do, we don't want to pretty much give a whole lot of information out there. No. As far as where or the specifics are, as far as where we'll be camping or things of that nature, because what we're trying to do is cut back on hoax and people coming out there and trying to mess with us. That's the last thing that we want to have happen, because people have and people will. And we want to conduct our research as pure as possible, saying, there was nobody around for this, distance that we know, so this, had to have been a Sasquatch or a possible Sasquatch. Of course, when we do come across stuff like that, we're very self-disciplined. We don't just jump to the conclusion and say, oh, did you hear that? That was a Bigfoot. We got people on the team who are seasoned, who know a lot about wildlife sounds and sounds that different animals make, because they are hunters. They've been out in the woods. They've observed these. They've heard these. They've done the research. And so, I have too. Coyotes, owls, and things, foxes making sounds, and deer grunts, and belts, and bears. Oh my! So these are things we have to take into play in this field. Is knowing a lot of the local fauna sounds that can be produced, bird sounds, chirps. It all helps us distinguish and weighing out sounds as far as if it was possibly produced by a Sasquatch or was it unknown animal. It's just educating yourself any way, shape, or form possible on sounds of the forest and animals. We don't want to jump to conclusions and say, oh, this was a Bigfoot. Look, listen to what we got. And have somebody else say, oh, no, I heard that. I know exactly what animal that is. And then, it just kind of makes us look like we're dumb dumb butts.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then these guys, oh, wow, you guys are the professionals? Well, I think I opened up the show saying there are no professionals in this field of research. And people do make mistakes and stuff like that. So we try to just say we educate ourselves as best as we can with what's out there and what's known in the hopefully better process, and come to the determination and saying, yes, this was a Bigfoot. No, this was not a Bigfoot. This was this animal, or we think it was this animal. You know, in our investigations or research, we just don't automatically have Bigfoot on the brain saying everything was done by a Bigfoot, when that is not the case 100% of the time. 100% of the time, maybe even 95% of the time, 99% of the time, it was probably something else that was out there that left that track in the woods that somebody's misidentifying, or it was a bear that was going down on all fours from standing up foraging that went away. And so it was Bigfoot that just standing there and then went down on all fours and went in this other direction, when it's something that is very much could have been explained that as an animal that we all are familiar with. We have a great bunch of guys, and like, you know, in the opening, we did wrap up something with Animal Planet, Finding Bigfoot episodes last July, which was awesome. It was great. You know, Cliff, Matt, Bobo, and Renee, doing this for 17 years, and I know those guys. I met them personally. We've breaking bread. We've ate together. We worked out together in gyms. It's more like a family reunion when we get a chance or that opportunity to catch up with these guys.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing that again here with a couple of them just next week.
Nice.
Not this weekend, but the coming weekend, where there's going to be one of the biggest conferences in North America is the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And we are sponsors and supporters of the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, and that's where we'll be heading out to catch up with the familia, so to say, and getting a chance to catch up with those guys out there. Cliff is going to be the master of ceremonies. I think Bobo plans on attending himself as well. So along with that, we have Dr. Jeff Meldrum, which a lot of people know his name or that name because a lot of TV shows that he's done. He's the professor at Idaho State University. That you always see people want him on the documentaries, on the TV shows. This guy takes it to that level of, being a professor. He goes through the foot anatomy. He gets this tested. He gets that tested. He scrutinizes everything, film, this, that, and the other thing. This guy is like, I don't know, he's like the Pink Panther. He goes through everything with a fine-tooth comb. Yeah. He wants answers, and he's been doing this for quite some time. I've had him on my radio show a few times. He's a great guy. He's a guy that everybody looks up to in the Bigfoot community because he has the academia standing behind him and the funding to do so from Idaho State, which is great. And he can get things done and say, yes, it was this, no, it was that. That hair sample came from this creature. Looks at the foot morphology of footprints, gets some 3D scanned, and so now there's a database going on that he's collecting. He's got a lot of footprints, Bigfoot footprints, more than anybody that I could ever say. And I got a few castings from him myself, just to say, hey, when we're on the field, we run across somebody. This is kind of what we're looking for. And they're like, oh, wow, blown away. Is that real? Well, yeah, it's real. We didn't find it, however, but I did get it from a professor of Idaho State University. So, as far as our team goes, we're a no-kill team. We don't want to kill a Bigfoot in any way, shape, or form. Reason number one, because if we do that, family members probably come out and retaliate and kill us. Mm-hmm. Two, we don't know how many there are. And we definitely want to preserve and conserve and respect these creatures, which they deserve all the respect. I mean, heck, a lot of people seen on the internet, world champion at hide and seek. That's so true.
Do you ever get? Do you dislike the term like Bigfoot hunt? I personally dislike the term when in my paranormal circles of a ghost hunt, ghost hunters. I don't like that because to me that's not what it's about personally. I mean, what are your thoughts on using such nomenclature as that?
Well, if you look in the dictionary, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but if you look at the word hunt, it's to seek or to find, not actually to go out and kill. So, I mean, if we're doing this for 17 years, oh, you're going to go hunt a Bigfoot, you're going Bigfoot hunting, I want to go hunting with you. I'm like, okay, well, you kind of make me feel like I'm Elmer Fudd and I'm out there looking for Bugs Bunny. That's far from the case.
Yeah.
This bunny is huge, and I ain't no Elmer Fudd. But anyway, it used to bug me, but people don't really know. People outside of the Bigfoot community, I mean, they do a lot of their thinking when deer hunting. Oh, they're going to go out and kill this creature. That's what a lot of people think of hunting, is that they're going to go out and kill and have proof and evidence right there, and they're going to eat it and hang it on the wall. That's not what we do. It used to bug me, but you grow thick skin over time.
Yeah.
So that's just how people think. I don't let that get to me. It used to, but not anymore. So I know where they're coming from. That's the best way that they can think of describing it.
Yeah.
When you or I, a person in either cryptozoology or paranormal, I guess cryptozoology is kind of paranormal in its own aspects. We're used to the term investigations or research.
Yeah.
But, outside of the community, they're definitely going to be using hunt. So it used to bug me, but not no more.
I think it only bothers me because it sounds aggressive, and I'm not aggressive in when it comes to those circles. So yeah, and you're right, it's a personal thing. And I've seen just on the ghost paranormal side of it, the debate about that, and it's interesting to see their sides. So that's cool to hear your take on it. I do.
Greg, it really gets me when people say ghost hunt. Are you going to kill something that's already dead?
Right, exactly.
Ooh,
well,
yeah,
and I for me, it's always like it's always about communication, isn't it? I mean, what you want to do, you're going to want to communicate with what you find. I'm assuming you're not going to just stare at it. Who wouldn't want to be the first person to be able to have a kind of a quasi intelligent conversation with a Sasquatch? I mean, that seems to be the goal, doesn't it?
That would be really freaking cool. Yeah. But, the thing is about having conversation, we do know that they have some form of communication amongst themselves. As far as what it means is we just need more people out in the woods with their audio recorders saying, hey, this is what I caught.
Yeah.
There is a guy in the Bigfoot community. His name is R. Scott Nelson. He's a cryptolinguist from the Navy who is doing just that. He has a Sasquatch phonetic alphabet based on the Barry Moorhead Sierra Sound CDs or recordings that were recorded in the High Sierra Mountains back in the 70s of what is people are calling Bigfoot communicating with each other. And so he's taken down these sounds and put them into a phonetic alphabet. Guy is amazing. If you look up MN.B.R.T, I have YouTube video of him. Sorry about the quality. I did my best. It was at a conference we were both at, and you can watch his presentation on Bigfoot language.
That's fantastic. We have about 10 minutes left because it's flying by. I know, right? It's pretty fast. So a couple things. When you mentioned like recording, I was going to ask, I had totally forgot before the show. Do you have any audio recordings yourself that you've taken of what you believe is Bigfoot?
No. Nope. I do not at all. I mean, I do have digital audio recorders, but and that's not my thing as far as going out and hopefully collecting audio, because audio is one of the harder things to say. Oh, okay, yeah. There's not much weight to audio as far as proving. It could be anything out there that's hearing insect landed on your audio recorder and made a strange sound, and listening to it or whatever, and saying, "What the heck is that? What the heck is that?" And then I am wasting my time when I could be out in the woods walking around. And that's something, again, audio. You got to go over it and listen to it and go through that with a spectrograph, fine-tooth comb, and seeing if there's any spikes or any patterns or anomalies on the spectrograph. To me, it's just not my thing. When I'm more boots on the ground, let's go in a swamp, let's go around the swamp, let's go get bit up by by mosquitoes. Let's go pick ticks off of us, leeches out of our toes, and see what we can find.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a kind of a more off-the-wall sort of question in a sense. So I've had Coast to Coast weekend host, that rhymed really nicely, Connie Willis on the show. And she had mentioned that she was on a Bigfoot investigation, and that she didn't, I don't think she said she saw one face to face, but she knew one was around, and that she mentioned on her show in this encounter with Bigfoot that she felt it spoke to her telepathically. Have you ever heard anything like that before?
Yep, I have. I sure have. Some people call it telepathically. Some people call it mind speak.
Sure. And she may have said it that way too. Yeah.
Okay. It's where those. Yes, I have heard of that. It's kind of like where without words, they'll put an image or try to get a message across to you, or it just pops in your head. You're like, oh gosh, where did that come from? Is there one around? That's never happened to me, but I do know of people who have that had happened to. And it's something that has, I guess you can say, is kind of documented in the Bigfoot community, but it's so hard to say it was a Sasquatch because we know so very little about them. But the people who have had that happen say it was a Bigfoot. And who are we to say yay or nay about it? We just have to document it, because if we're not documenting it, then we're not doing proper research.
That's pretty cool. I was hoping that, because I thought I've heard of it, heard other people mention it too. So I'm really excited to hear that is something that a lot of people have talked about. That's actually really exciting to me.
It's out there, no doubt. I mean, not out there like far out there, but it's out there as far as it being known of. Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I do know of that.
As we're running out of time, and another question when I was kind of looking through all the stuff that, I live in St. Michael, Minnesota, so it's about 35 miles from downtown Minneapolis. Do you have any idea what's the closest Bigfoot sighting there has been in the Twin Cities area? Like, has there been such a thing?
Yeah. Rice Creek Chain of Lakes up by Lionel Lakes. Okay. Yeah. There was a sighting by a colleague who has seen one in that area. There was on a website. I'll just throw this out there because a good friend on the BFRO website. Yeah, on the BFRO website, there is a sighting of a man and woman who was seen a creature while they were walking in the wintertime. So, yep, I would definitely say north of St. Paul, in the Rice Creek Chain of Lakes area, but it's become so developed in that region now that people can go take a look around if they want, but I don't think they're going to have any luck. So good luck. If you hear anything, contact the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. We'll be out there.
Absolutely. Do you guys do that then? You do, like, you'll get like someone in some area in Minnesota or whatever saying we've seen something. Can you come out? That's what you all do, is you go out then and investigate.
Yes, definitely. I mean, actually, it's people that have had those encounters or sightings that have contact us, that get us out there, that adds fuel to the fire, that restokes the passion. We know there's stuff going out there, just people are not reporting it. The more we get out there, the more known by your great listeners in the chat room and who are listening throughout the internet. Say, hey, I know a team from Minnesota that does that stuff. If you guys know somebody, please send them our way. Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. Check us out on Facebook. Follow our page. Like our page. Send them our way so we can get out there and do a proper investigation and documentation on what they've seen, on what went down, and hopefully we get some type of interpretation on where this creature is going or what you think it could have been doing in that area. And hopefully any samples that we preserve, and hopefully get them sent off and tested so we can get one step further in proving the existence of Bigfoot.
What kind of radius do you have for traveling?
Statewide. I've gone to Oregon, I've gone to Washington, I've gone down to Texas, Arkansas, Iowa, Missouri, Michigan, Ohio, statewide, and also multiple states. But when it comes to Minnesota, we cover the whole state of Minnesota. We'll go anywhere in the state of Minnesota as long as it's a Class A sighting. Class A, minding you, somebody sees the creature with their own two eyes.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. So we have about 3 minutes left, and I guess where we're going to leave this off is that you and I talked beforehand a little bit, and it sounds like that what might be fun is after you and your team do the 5 days of immersion into whatever body of woods that you go into, that we're going to have you guys back on. And if you want to bring other people on too, we can do that, and we can have a discussion of what happened over those 5 days. Because I think that'd be kind of fun if you're up for that, and we can kind of talk about, because what I also would like to do, which was one of my questions that we didn't get to, which is fantastic, is that we can go through what you guys do when we have you back on. We can have you go through what you do in investigation, like what are the steps, what are different times a day. I'm assuming requires different sort of tactics. What is all that stuff? And we can talk about that when you're back on. I think that'd be very interesting.
Would love to, and we'd like to personally invite you to come out with us during our next excursion into whatever body of woods. We always could use fresh bait. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you like cover me in honey or something, and then let them come out and just rip me to shreds? Because I'm okay with that. Funny enough, I'm fine with that.
But no, I think it'd be fun. It'd be a great experience for you. So we could talk about that, and you could have more ammunition for questioning as well.
Yeah, no, that sounds like fun. That would be pretty awesome. I'm going to say that, to be able to go along with you guys and see what it's about and take part in it would be pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie about that. So yeah, we got to talk about that and definitely see if we can make that work. And I can bring out some cameras and stuff, and we can maybe document some stuff also, that in just more videos. So that would be great. Thank you very much.
That would be great. Not a problem. I'd love to have you.
Thank you, Abe Del Rio. Thank you so much. Everyone loved having you on. We're going to have you on again very soon. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you guys, and watch on.
Absolutely. Once again, Sarge, as always, thank you very much for running the board tonight. I am going to be back on Minnesota Ghost Box on May 24th. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great week. Bye-bye.